Alright, so I thought I'd real quick take the top off of the carburetor here and try to replace the accelerator piston pump with a slightly bigger one, bigger bore one than what I had put in before. I don't know if it'll actually fit or not, but the nice thing about it is once you've taken the carburetor apart once, then the second time around taking it apart is no big deal. It's just a matter of taking out the little cotter pin here. This little linkage right down here is actually, I'll try to show it on here, it's spring loaded. You can lift up on that and it just slips right over that ball, and then when you drop it back down, like see that up and down spring loaded on there, grabs that ball, and that's how you disconnect that. And this is just another little cotter pin, sorry, that right there is another little cotter pin right there on your choke, and you're off to the races. So I've got this apart here. It'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those bolts right there, and the whole top will come off, and I'll be able to take a look at this accelerator piston pump and see if I can't improve that a little bit. The replacement part I got, I kind of didn't know if it was intended to be or not. There was springs and a cup that was on here originally, and I may go ahead and try to see if I can actually fit the springs and cup back on the replacement part as well, just because I think that spring might give you a little bit of extra early push whenever the accelerator piston goes up and down there. So anyway, let's get this top off of here and see what it all looks like. So this new piston, accelerator pump piston, does fit in there, and as you can, I don't know if you can see it very well, but it's definitely shooting gas pretty well through those idlers there. I'm going to call that a correct fitting. Now that it's got some gas on it, it seems to be going up and down pretty smooth. I'm going to call that the right one for it. It'll be a little harder for me to get in. But I think if I get it installed first like this, and then put the top through there, I think it'll go on there fairly easy. So let's go ahead and rig this up with the spring and everything attached, which might even give me a little bit sooner shot of gas, and see if this improves anything. So this is what it looks like, kind of, I'm getting it placed on there and down inside that, you know, piston cup well there, and I'll try to, it'll take two hands and I won't be able to videotape it, but I'm going to try to lay that carburetor air horn right on top of there and kind of thread it through that hooked end right there, and then see if we can't lay it all in there without having to try to do the opposite, which is put it through the thing first and then try to, through the air horn first, and then try to get that gasket in there. It's a fairly tight little fit. It's not real tight, but let's see if we can do it easy this way first, and if I struggle getting this hooked through that hole and getting the air horn on, I may have to go ahead and put it on the air horn first and then try to drop the air horn and get this gasket threaded down there all at the same time. We'll see. So the winning technique did wind up being putting it on the air horn first, letting it hang down, and then putting the entire assembly, you know, picture this hanging from the air horn here, and then just putting the whole assembly down and kind of guiding the gasket down into its hole, and then finally sliding this down carefully, trying not to bend your floats or do anything else. It's just kind of a, you don't want to be too ham-handed with it, but it definitely has a good strong pump action on it, I can tell. So this may be a considerable improvement. I'm going to go ahead and hook all the rest of my linkage back up, put the cotter pins together, and then let's fire it up and see if it runs a little better yet. Alright, so we have everything assembled back here. I can already tell by the way the piston moved up and down there that it's got a nice little movement to it. I'm giving it like partial gas there and even quicker gas, and as you can tell, there's much less hesitation before it starts to take off. So This is a win. That's a good thing. So I'll give you the number for the part there. It definitely, there's a couple of size pump pistons that you can get for the Stromberg, and at least on the Roadmaster and on this bigger carburetor, it does take the bigger bore for sure. And it runs much better and has a nicer approach on the acceleration. So yeah, I'm very pleased with that. So I was asked online to actually show some videos now of what it's like to actually just drive the car around now that it's running well and doing so much better, and just kind of what it's like to be in the experience of being in the Roadmaster. So I thought I would go ahead and do that today. I've got a little more work to do on it. It's a never-ending project, I suppose, but let's go ahead and take a little bit of a drive around here today and see what it seems like when you're behind the wheel of a 1950 Buick Roadmaster. And today, we're just going to be running some errands. Nothing exciting. Okay, so we're good and warmed up now, so let's go ahead and drop it all the way down into way reverse and go run some errands and just do like it used to be back in the day. It is such a hot day today. I am totally enjoying my little triangle window here to try to give me a little bit of air. Oh yeah, that is so much better on the accelerator pedal. Did you feel that or hear it? I mean, it just kind of like you just put your foot on it and it actually starts to go. That's great. Stop sign, you put your foot on the gas pedal and hooray! I would say that's a carburation accelerator pump win right there. What's funny is you keep waiting for a shift. There is no shift. It's just more and more RPMs and more stator, rotor, automatic transmission resistance. It just keeps going. I have my directional turn signal on. You know, that's a new feature for the 1950 Buick. a whole section of the manual just talking about the directional signals. That was nice. The 1980s Cutlass guy gave me a wave. Years before, there was the Buick. I guess I could try to describe the drive to you. So, I mean, it is, you know, 4 coils at each wheel. So, though it is a little bouncy, it also kind of floats to a certain degree. If there's some shake or shimmy or squeak, probably a portion of that has to do with the fact that there's no weather stripping underneath the hood. So now that I have an actual gas pedal that's affixed to something in the floorboard, it feels much nicer to drive. I really should take a moment to enjoy the carburation here. This is so much more pleasant to drive rather than having to pump the gas pedal and do other kind of heroics to help it go along. It pretty much is put down on the gas pedal, you know, gently, let it go ahead and come up to speed, and it's doing what it's supposed to do, so that's fun. I guess we'll also put the heating and cooling, or I should say the cooling, to the test today. It is middle of July and it is hot today. Hot, hot, hot. Oh my goodness. So I'm feeling pretty good about actually the cooling of it here, so I think it's just going to be like a normal trip. I'm not even joking. This car soaks up those bumps that I just went over better than my 95 Caprice Classic. Has no problem at all going 65 or 70 miles an hour. other things that kind of surprised me about the car was I thought there would be a lot more sawing and yawing at the wheel and trying to get it to track. Believe it or not, it actually tracks pretty straight, not too bad. I pretty much just have my hands relaxed on the wheel. I'm not having to do a lot of management to it. It pretty much does where, points where you go. So I don't want to bore you with interstate driving. I'll go ahead and shut off here for a bit, run some errands, and then we'll start it up again a little later. All right, that was exciting. Grocery run. Just getting some groceries. Oh yeah, driving much better. Carbureting way better. Taking off from a stop way better. There was no hesitation on the interstate at all. Met a couple of people on the trips here. You can't help but say hi to some people who have either had cars when they were younger or just are interested in the car just from driving around. So it's definitely all about the miles per gallon, right? Miles per gallon. Should say also that this is one of the hottest days of the year, and so we're not overheating. I'm not really sure exactly how much belief I have in the temperature meter, but nonetheless we don't have smoke and steam billowing out of the radiator there. Says it's running cool, or at least within normal operating temperatures, so I'll take that. Putting my foot in a little bit more here on this stretch here, so as you can see, that wasn't too bad. It kind of just brought itself right up to 55 miles an hour without any problems. So if you're tuning on a car and you're wanting to see some results, that puts a smile on your face. That's a win. So very good. Definitely makes a big difference having the right accelerator pump piston on the carburetor. That's the way to accelerate. I like that. Well, it's not 100 degrees, but it's about 90. So I'm super excited, very happy about that. So let's bring her back in and let her cool off inside the garage here. And that's what I was hoping to get to eventually here, was a day where you could just go out, drive the car, run some errands, pick up some groceries, and not have a lot of drama and excitement with it. Just pretty much just driving around and getting stuff done. All right, well, thanks for hanging out with me while we drive the Buick around here. I'm going to get it in. There's more work to be done, but that's at least drivable. Signing off.